I'm Karen Wills. I'm the UPC advisor here at UNL, and I'm actually a fellow cancer survivor. I guess I don't know your story to know if you're a fellow cancer survivor, but I had appendix cancer 7 years ago, and it drastically changed my life, but for the better. Mm-hmm. And so we brought you in here today to tell your story about how cancer has affected your life. And our first question is to get to know you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Caden Connely. I'm a Lincoln native, and I'm a junior here at UNL studying fisheries and wildlife biology.
Okay. So you said your major, campus involvement, hometown.
Lincoln.
Okay, you said that, right? All right, so now your cancer journey. Can you share your cancer story or your connection to cancer?
So in November of 2021, when I was a senior in high school, I was diagnosed with a non-Hodgkin's form of lymphoma. Okay. And that was a very large change that has altered a lot of what I now call my past.
Yeah. So what triggered for you to know that something was happening, that you went in to see the doctor?
Yeah, so I was a very active kid and played multiple sports, had multiple involvements in high school, and I just noticed that during my baseball season in the summer, things started to really slow down with my body. I couldn't keep up. And during my tennis season that senior year, I was really not doing well. I'd get really tired. I'd come home from class and just fall asleep. I'd sit down and take my shoes off, and I'd be so tired that I'd just shut down. And I lost a lot of weight and just wasn't performing in school, in sports or anything like that. And so that kind of triggered a lot of what I brought to the doctor, and then I started having some tumors and things like that. And so we went through a lot of biopsies and tests, and originally I was diagnosed with lupus, an autoimmune disease, because we couldn't really figure it out. And then later a diagnosis for lymphoma came back.
Okay. So you've gone through this journey. What would you say is the most difficult part of the journey?
For me, the physical part was not necessarily hardest. I had a massive amount of support. My dad's also a cancer survivor. Okay. So that was really impactful during that journey. But for me, the transition into college and living on my own and now having this body that is recovered, but this mental state of that impact was really difficult for me. And trying to understand that I'm still a very capable young adult and I can aspire to do things and live a life that I wanted to live, even though I had a lot of boundaries and a lot of adversity put in place at a really transitional time of life. That was the biggest impact for me. Okay.
So you mentioned your dad. Was he a part of maybe what helped you to stay strong and hopeful during your journey?
100%. I am extremely, extremely grateful for my parents. They are
both of them.
So supportive. Yes. But yes, my dad was one of those people that I remember the first week I got diagnosed, it was probably the scariest week I've ever experienced.
Oh, yeah.
And there were times I didn't sleep for the majority of the week just because I was so scared of what was going to happen.
Right.
And he would talk to me and we'd have these really healthy conversations about what life would look like. And he had experienced those emotions, and it was a really empathetic exchange of like, yeah, there's going to be some scary things, some adversity, but you're going to get through it and you have so much support.
Yes.
And so I had a really amazing support structure.
So that would have been really difficult for your mom to have gone through with your dad and then you. But she'd gone through it, so she was able to at least help you through that process.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I'm an only child, so I know it was a difficult process for both of them. Yeah. But extremely grateful for all that they have done.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Okay, so you talked about your parents and how they were your support. Who here in the Husker community kind of helped you provide support or any kind of... Yeah.
I've had a lot of different people that have really helped me throughout my time. When I came to college, I remember my first day here, I had gone to the Kasner luncheon and got to sit down with a professor by the name of John Carroll. And John took this trip to South Africa every summer and was sharing stories and all these things. And I was a kid that was obsessed with animals, watched National Geographic. And
hence your major.
Yes, exactly. And so I was like really obsessed with this idea of like, wow, I could have an opportunity to go do this. Okay. And I hadn't traveled since my diagnosis. And during that recovery process, that was not really an option.
Yeah.
But I had this idea, and first time I met John, I was like, I really want to do that. And I presented that idea to him, and he was like, all right, let's figure out how we can do it. And so he, along with my parents, my doctors, we figured out how to get me to South Africa. I spent the summer there. I had an amazing time. And that was a really big mental shift for me to be like, yeah, even though I've had this past and I've had these things that have really impacted my life,
Yeah.
I can aspire for more. I can be the person that I really want to be, even though this adversity has been placed upon my life. Another program I'm really grateful for is the Engler program.
Yes.
Here on campus. And one of their pillars that they structure their program around is Aspire. And throughout that time, they've presented me with opportunities and guidance and support to chase my dreams and become the person I want to become.
That is an amazing program. I have quite a few UPC students that have gone through that. All right, so you talked about your journey, moments that really stood out for you in your experience. What advice would you give to someone who's currently facing a cancer diagnosis?
Mm-hmm. It's going to be hard, and we both know that,
Yeah.
and it's really scary.
Yep.
But I was a person that was really afraid to lean on the people around myself and the community that I've built.
Yeah.
And something that was told to me a while back is there's no reward for not asking for help. At the end of the day,
True.
It doesn't matter if you ask for help or not.
Right.
And as someone who was really protective of my emotions and didn't want to be vulnerable and ask for help and seek guidance and all that, it's okay to reach out. And there's people that have been in your situation. There's people that will be in your situation. And the majority of humanity is here to help you. And I think that was a really impactful mindset shift that I had. And I think that could be applied to that situation.
So then in what ways do you want others to remember this journey of yours? Like, what's really the most important thing?
One of the most impactful things that I experienced in that time, I was still within the pediatrics unit. So when I spent time in the hospital,
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people in Nebraska that were really struggling. Their children were going through this diagnosis, and they were having a really tough time with finances and mental support and things like that. And through all that, as I recovered in conjunction with the Engler program and a nonprofit in Omaha called Angels Among Us, I was able to help raise some funds to support those families that are struggling financially. And it's a community that I would have never known about if I wasn't diagnosed.
Yep.
And so a lot of that post-cancer journey has been trying to advocate for a community that is really underrepresented. And those kids don't deserve to go through any of that, and let alone struggle financially. They're already dealing with so much in the medical side.
Yeah.
If we can provide them some form of aid, I think that's really important. So that's kind of what I hope to use my experience for.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So you were up in Omaha then as well?
Correct.
Yeah,
So,
at the Children's Hospital.
Yep, worked with
Okay.
Children's and
Yeah.
UNMC, and
Yes.
they were incredible.
Yes, so same for me, UNMC, and actually the Fred and Pamela Buffett Cancer Center,
Yes.
when I'd gone in September, they had just opened that in July. So they were still putting up paintings and art on the wall. But no, it's incredible that you're taking what you're going through and making sure that you're helping others, because I do the same. I told my doctor, I said, anybody that you see, point them to my Facebook page, my Instagram, have them send me a private message. I'll walk them through it.
Yeah.
I'll answer questions. It may not be the exact type of appendix cancer, but I'm a part of a group that I could connect them with.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything that we can do to help our community.
Exactly.
For sure, for sure. All right, so at this point, what does hope look like I'm starting to get all choked up, look like to you now?
I think that's a really, really abstract question.
I know.
If I were to quantify hope, I would put it in the belief of something bigger than myself.
Okay.
Faith is big for some people as they go through these things. That didn't necessarily apply for my journey, but it was the belief that I had a community that was willing to support me. One of the most impactful things, I went to Lincoln High, so I graduated with
thousands
yes.
in your class.
And
Yeah.
one of the most impactful things is the day after I got diagnosed, I had to send an email to all my teachers, things like that.
Yeah.
And they showed up on my doorstep with money to help with food, asking my family if there's any way they could support me. And it was one of those things as a 17-year-old, you don't think that your high school biology
Buddies.
teacher is going to be there for you. But they were, and my baseball team and everybody that was in my life really impacted me on that journey. And so hope, I think there's hope in community.
Yeah.
There's hope in the people that we surround ourselves with, and hope within ourselves that we can strive for more and do better.
Oh, that was a beautiful answer. Thank you. All right, so another one here. Is there a quote, phrase, or belief that carried you through the tough moments?
Yeah, it's funny. We had one when I got diagnosed. My dad is a very strategic-minded human being.
Yes.
Both my parents are, and I'm much more abstract. But one of the things that my dad said is, the only way out is through. And
Okay.
You're placed in this situation, surrounded by adversity, and you just got to put your head down and get through it sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be hard, and life will present challenges down the road that the exact mindset can be applied to. And I had a shirt that said, the only way out is through. And that was something that I really carried with me. It's like, it's going to be hard,
Yeah.
and it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It still affects me today.
Oh, yeah.
But just getting through it and leaning on your community and those around you to really support you, that really got me through it.
Oh, for sure. All right, well, we got through all the questions, but is there
Awesome.
anything that you want to make sure that you say to everybody out there? Or you said it, or do you think you said it all?
I think we covered it all.
I
Thank
think
you
we
so
did
much.
too. Oh, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yep, thank you.